Number 7, in each of the situations below, do the following. 1, identify the two unknowns and represent them using different variables. 2, translate the statement into a first-degree inequality in two variables. 3, graphically represent the inequality solution set.
In a group, there are at least 5 more boys than there are girls. We're saying let X be the number of boys, let Y be the number of girls. I'm going to just compare the X and the Y for a second. I know there are more boys than there are girls. There's more boys than girls. So imagine you have your X and the Y, and they're totally balanced, number of boys and number of girls. But then you find out there are more boys than girls. Okay, so this side is going to be heavier, right? So it gets weighted down. So notice, you see the greater than symbol? So X is greater than Y. We're going to add 5 boys to one of the sides to bring it back into balance. If we were saying there are 5 more boys than girls, if these were equal, so which side would we add the boys to balance it? It's counterintuitive. You'd think you'd want to add the 5 more to the boy side to keep it balanced. We're going to add 5 to the Y side to make the Y side heavier. If we add 5 to the Y side, it comes back to balanced. That's why we're putting the 5 with the girls. But they're not equal. There are at least 5 more boys than girls. There are still more boys than there are girls. So X is still greater than or equal to Y plus 5. X is greater than or equal to Y plus 5. I want to get this in terms of the y's. I want to get y alone. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. When I do that, I'm going to get x minus 5 is greater than or equal to y. And then I'm just switching the sides. So I said y is, notice that it's pointing at the y. When I switch the sides, it still has to be pointing at the y, or the crocagator is eating the x minus 5. The crocagator is still eating the x minus 5. When I put that on my Cartesian plane, my b is negative 5. There's my negative 5. I'm going to start here. The slope is 1. So that means the delta y over delta x is 1. The delta y is 1. The delta x is 1. So I'm going to move over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1 like that. And so it's going to go through this line. Because it is y is less than or equal to x, it's less than or equal to means we have a solid line, and less than we're going to be shading below like that. Because y is the number of girls, you can't have less than 0 girls, so that's why we're stopping it at the x-axis. And that's it for question 7a. Have a good day.
For 7b, the speed of a cyclist is at least twice as great as a pedestrian. So the speed of the cyclist depends on the speed of the pedestrian. So let x be the speed of the pedestrian. Okay, the independent variable is x. And let y be the speed of the cyclist. Y is the cyclist and x is the pedestrian. And the speed of the cyclist is going to be 2 times the speed of the pedestrian. And it at least means greater than or equal to. So greater than or equal to 2 times x. So y is greater than or equal to 2x. If we're looking at it in slope form, y is equal to ax plus b. The b is 0. The a is 2. The slope is 2. 2 written as a fraction is 2 over 1. So the delta y is 2 and the delta x is 1. But we're going to graph that, and once again I'm going to graph it just in the first quadrant, because unless the cyclist is going backwards or the pedestrian is going backwards, you can't really have a negative speed. Well, I'm going to start with my b value, which is 0. Okay, so when the x is 0, the y is 0. Passes right through the origin right here. And then the slope is 2. So that means, 2 is 2 over 1. So the delta x is 1, the delta y is 2. So for every 1 I move over, I move 2 up. So 1 over, 2 up, 1 over, 2 up. 1 over, 2 up. So here's another point. You only need 2 points to draw a straight line. So because it's greater than or equal to, it's going to be a solid line. So I'm just going to make a solid line between those 2 points. And then since y is greater than or equal to 2x, we're going to shade above that line like that. 7c, the mass of a solvent is at least 10 times greater than that of a solute. So we're saying that the solvent depends on the solute. The solute is going to be x, the solvent is going to be y. So let x be the mass of the solute and let y be the mass of the solvent. The y is the solvent and the x is the solute, is at least, okay, so it's greater than or equal to, then 10 times greater than the solute, and the solute is x, so 10x. The y is greater than or equal to 10x. Once again, y equals ax plus b. The a is 10, the b is 0. Then when we graph this, you can't have negative amounts of a solvent or a solute, so I'm only going to be looking at quadrant 1. I'm going to start with our initial value of 0, so right here. So when x is 0, y is 0. And then our slope is 10x. That means 10 over 1. So the delta y is 10, the delta x is 1. So I always do the x first. Move over 1, and then move up 10. So there's our next point right there. Okay, I'm going to make a line between them, and because greater than or equal to, it's going to be a solid line. That little bar on the bottom reminds you to make a bar-like line, like that. And then y is greater than 10x, so we're going to shade above the line up here. All right, that's 7c. D, the number of people in a group comprised of men and women exceeds 40. They don't depend on each other. There's no independent dependent variable, so you can just arbitrarily just pick. It doesn't matter which is x and which is y. I just said let x be the number of women and y be the number of men, just because of the Y chromosome. Really, I just picked randomly. We know that the number of people in a group, that's x plus y, the number of men plus the number of women. X plus y exceeds 40, because it exceeds 40. It's bigger than 40. So x plus y is bigger than 40. That's what exceeds means, is larger than. If I just put that all together, x plus y is greater than 40. So in terms of the y, I want to get the y alone, so it's in the form y equals ax plus b, our line formula. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides, like that. And we get y is greater than negative x plus 40. So the initial value is going to be 40. I've had to find a graph that has a 40 on the y-axis. So our initial value is 40. When x is 0, y is 40. That's what that means. So this is our initial point. So I plot that point. Then the slope is negative 1. And always float your negatives to the top. If you have a negative slope, make your delta y negative, not your delta x. Negative 1 means negative 1 over 1. So we're going to be moving over positive 1 in the x direction and down 1 in the y direction. So over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1. You can move over, I don't know, like 5 if you like. 4, 5, and down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing, right? And then move over 3 and down 3. We're going to get to here. That's going to be my second point, and I'm going to draw a line between them. And since it is greater than, and it's not equal to, it's going to be a dotted line, a dashed line, like that. And then because it's greater than, we're going to shade above, like that. And that's it for question 7D.
Question 7E. If you subtract triple Julie's salary from double Jean's salary, the result does not exceed 15,000. I'm going to say let X be Jean's salary and let Y be Julie's salary. Now, once again, these are both arbitrary. It doesn't really matter whether you make X Jan's salary or Julie's salary. I just picked one. And subtract triple Julie's salary. So triple Julie's salary, so Julie is going to be Y. So triple Julie's salary is going to be 3y. And then subtracting it is taking away 3y from double Jan's salary. So Jan's salary is going to be x, double that is going to be 2x. The result does not exceed 15,000. So not exceed. So not greater than 15,000. To exceed is to be greater than. Not greater than means less than or equal to. Because greater than, is it equal to? Is equal to a possibility? So if you're saying greater than 15, is 15 included? No. So the opposite of greater than 15 must include the 15. Right? Not greater than is going to be less than or equal to. The result does not exceed 15,000, like that. So as an equation, we have 2x minus 3y is less than or equal to 15,000. I want to get that in terms of y, so I want to subtract the 2x from both sides. To get rid of the 2x from the left-hand side, I subtract it, but if I subtract from the left-hand side, I also have to subtract from the right-hand side to keep it all balanced. So we end up with negative 3y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 15,000. I want to get rid of this negative 3. Negative 3 is multiplying the y, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. When I divide the right-hand side, remember you have to divide each term by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1y, and that's why we did it, to get 1y. Because we're dividing by a negative, it's going to flip the direction of the relationship. So y is greater than or equal to negative 2 divided by negative 3. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and then 2 divided by 3, 2/3. 2 divided by 3. X minus 15,000 divided by 3. Okay, a positive divided by negative is negative. 15,000 divided by 3, like 15 divided by 3 is 5,000. This tells us the slope. This value is our b value, our initial value is negative 5,000. On my grid, I'm going to make each of these value 1,000. So this is 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, like that. So I'm just going to say these are thousands of dollars and these are thousands of dollars as well. Then if we're starting at negative 5,000, that's right here. We're going up by our delta x is 3, our delta y is 2. So we're moving over 3 up 2. So over 3 and up 2. Over 3,000 up 2,000, same thing. So over 3 up 2, over 3 up 2, over 3 up 2, over 3 up 2. So right about there. I like to get my points really far apart because it makes them easier to graph, like that. And it's a solid line because it's greater than or equal to. Because it's greater than, we're going to shade above, like that. Any point in this shaded region is going to satisfy this inequality. Notice I only drew it in the first quadrant because nobody is going to be working if they're drawing a negative salary. It means you're owing money for every hour you work. In any case, That's it for question number 7E. Question 7F. In a restaurant that has tables with 4 or 6 chairs, there are no more than 100 seats available. So we're talking about seats. So let X be the number of 4-chair tables, right? And the number of tables that have 4 chairs at them, and let Y be the number of tables with 6 chairs at them. Decided on looking at the tables because at a restaurant, tables have either 4 or 6 chairs. It really comes down to how many of each table do you have, because they come with their chairs. X is the number of 4-chair tables, Y is the number of 6-chair tables. We know that there are no more than 100 seats available. 4 times X, if you have one 4-chair table, you have 4 chairs. If you have 2 4-chair tables, you have 8 chairs. So I'm multiplying the number of tables by 4. It's going to be 4x plus 6y. That's going to give us the total number of chairs. And we know that there's no more than 100 seats available. That means less than or equal to 100. Not greater than, no more than means not greater than, which means less than or equal to 100. So we have 4x plus 6y is less than or equal to 100. I want to get my 6y's alone. The 4x is stopping that, so I'm going to subtract 4x from the left-hand side to get rid of the 4x, and if I subtract from the left, I also have to subtract from the right. So we end up with 6y is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 100. Now I want to get rid of that 6, which is multiplying the y. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. When I divide the right-hand side, remember each term has to be divided by 6. We end up with y is less than or equal to, so 4 divided by 6, a negative divided by a positive is negative, and I'm just going to reduce the 4/6. So I'm going to divide the top and bottom by 2, so 2/3. Okay, plus 100 over 6. Divide the top and bottom by 2, because 2 goes into 100, 2 goes into 6, and that gives us 50 over 3. 3 does not go into 50 evenly, so I'm not going to reduce that any further. That's it. So there we are. So we have 50 over 3. That's our initial value. See, our initial value is 50 divided by 3, which is going to be a decimal point. 50 divided by 3 is going to give us this nice repeating decimal, 16.6 repeating, and it's kind of hard to find on the graph here. So I'm going to see if I can find a better value as my starting position. I notice here that, look, if x is equal to 1, I'm going to get negative 2/3 added to 50 over 3. And so the 50 is going to take away the 2, that's going to give us 48 over 3, and 3 evenly goes into 48. 2 divided by 3 times when x is equal to 1 plus 50 over 3. So we have 48 divided by 3 should give us 16. I'm going to start off with a point when x is 1, y is 16, which is right here, this point right there. The slope is negative 2 over 3. I'm going to pop that negative up in front of the 2. So I have negative 2 over 3. That means for every 3 I move across, I'm going to go down 2. So always do your left and right first. So I'm moving over 3, down 2, over 3, down 2. If it's negative, I always make the y negative, the delta y negative, never the x. So over 3, down 2, over 3, down 2, over 3, down 2, over 3, down 2, over 3, and down 2, right about there, at 16.6. Right here. And if I draw a line between them, it's going to be a solid line because it's less than or equal to, right? So the bar on the bottom reminds you to make your line into a solid bar, like that. It's less than, so we're shading below the line. And that's it for question number 7. Have a good day.